look back at the times when I really wanted to come out of the closet as a mystic. And one of my friends actually said to me, "Come on out of the closet, the church needs you." The church needs the mystics, and we indeed do in the United Church need the mystics. My sense is of the United Church that those mystics are starting to come forth. But in my time, in the early 90s, I seemed to be having experiences that were beyond anything I could find any understanding with in the church. Up until 1990, I had a lot of involvement as a volunteer in a church, United Church of Canada. And I had done some counseling at a community college level. Then I decided that I was really called to United Church ministry, so I went into training for ministry. And the second year I was in training, I became very ill. And I had a dream in which a huge snake came to me and stretched herself out full length on me and shared her healing energy with me. And when I woke from that dream, I knew that I had received some healing energy and that something had happened to me that had never happened before. And so I began to explore that. I was very drawn to the snake, started to read, started to ask questions, and soon came into contact with a Christian shaman, as he calls himself, who was my first teacher and who told me that I had been initiated into a shamanic kind of paradigm, and then it was up for me to discover what my vocation was. Shortly after that, I had always had a spiritual director, and shortly after that, I began to feel also called to take some training in spiritual direction. And so that's how that all evolved at that point. What it did was to expand my awareness of all the possibilities in different spiritual traditions. So I could take that back into my ministry work. So it really informed and deepened everything I was already doing in spiritual direction. I just decided that when my church, King's Court United, closed, because of, that's what's happening, churches are closing for various reasons, that it was time for me to go out on my own and try to concentrate on this part of the practice, because in United Church ministry one is very engaged in planning worship, leading meetings, doing study groups, visiting the sick, doing funerals and weddings. It takes up a lot of time and energy that I didn't have enough of for this. So that's when I decided to just shift gears a little bit. A shaman is a tribal, indigenous healer. I am not tribal, and I'm not living in a tribal culture. So it feels to me a dishonor to call myself a shaman. I do not feel like a shaman. I am a shamanic practitioner who, along with my colleagues, is trying to adapt the classical shamanic techniques to our contemporary world, to the kind of things that people need healing in nowadays. So while we're trying to adapt, we're also trying to honor those ancient techniques and still use some of the ancient techniques, things that have come down 60 to 100,000 years through the generations to us. So yes, it's very important that my feeling is that we don't call ourselves shamans. Well, a client will call me based on what she's heard or read in the pamphlet or seen on the website, and she may be looking for, or he may be looking for, shamanic healing, shamanic teaching. They may have curiosity about shamanism, or they may be looking more for someone to companion them on their life path. Spiritual direction is not therapy. So the kind of person that is drawn to my work is someone who may be doing therapy on his own, but who knows that our focus will be spirituality. So our focus as we talk together, as we look at dream work, which is a big, big part of my work, as we learn to journal together, as we learn about the revelation of God in nature, our relationships, all those things we talk about in order to find God within us and to develop that sense of the Spirit within us. And the spiritual direction that I offer is not religion-based, as is shamanism is not religion-based. Any religion can profit from both. And so people can come to me from the Buddhist tradition or from the Wiccan tradition or from the Christian tradition and just find what we call sacred listening. And I will listen, and with the skills I've learned, draw forth from him or her more understanding, more gifts, more ways that he or she can learn to relate more deeply to the universe and to their God, however they perceive their God to be. Well, there are a few things laid out here. In the shamanic world, these are shamanic things I have here. In the shamanic world, we're very focused in creation. We're creation-based. That's our belief, that the spirit of the divine, transcendent, yes, to all, but also extremely immanent, and that the manifestation of God is not just within human beings, but is within this rock, within air, within fire, within water. And we're based in that, and so I usually have that present because it has its own power. I will always use a rattle to help to clear any energy that's locked in someone's aura. We all have this part of us that we can't see that holds energy. And so this is used to clear that, and it's just simply enough to move the energy. It's not magical, it's just really moving energy. The drum is one of the most important thing because the drum is considered the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And there is a technique by which you learn to drum at a certain speed that has been shown scientifically to alter the brainwave. And of course usually made with a skin that once belonged to an animal, and the spirit of that animal, which in this case is a goat, is also present. Drumming is a very grounding experience that can take us right down into the very center where we need to be. We get locked up here in our heads, and our heads are just constantly going like this. Drumming is one of the quickest ways to help that energy to drop and to bring us down to earth again. So the drum is basic to shamanic practice. The shaman, in a traditional sense, becomes healthier and healthier the more work he or she does. Conversely, the shaman is often ill if not doing the work. So that says a lot, because what that says is that it enables one doing the work consistently, my own private spiritual practice, but also my healing work with others, enables one to be clear-energied, to be whole, to be alive. And the biggest thing, I think, is just this sense of wonder I have, that I can walk in my woods and see things that I never saw before. I can see spirit presence in trees and flowers and birds. My inner life is continually more rich than it ever used to be. And the other thing that it's done for me is to convince me that the planet who is so sad and wounded and hurting needs the shamanic work that some of us are doing. And so it has filled me with a new call and a new responsibility to go out there and be part of that in a way that raises people's awareness of creation, raises their sense of wonder in all life. We've lost that. So it's been part of my regaining that wonder